Welcome back, students who are taking financial accounting, and in this series of videos we are working on the assigned homework problems from the digital study guide for chapter 11, the group B exercises. Note, accounting is about understanding the concepts and then applying that understanding to the situation at hand. If you get the application aspect wrong, that is one thing and is easily remedied by watching someone else work the problem. However, if you don't understand the concepts, that is a whole other thing. Watching a problem worked out will not help if you don't understand the underlying concepts. Go back and study the text material again and watch the theory videos. If you still don't understand the concepts, then either email or telephone an instructor to get help with that understanding. Right, number 27 here, it says operating activities using the direct method. Right, so this is the information, and it says compute the cash flows from operating activities by the direct method, and evaluate the operating cash flow. Give the reason for your evaluation. All right, so I'm going to shrink this up a little bit, and I'm going to move it up here. Okay, and again, this is going to be a working paper. Okay, so I'm not going to be worried about the formalities of all of the formatting and everything like that. Okay, so just remember you have a heading. Right, and then with the direct method, it differs, the operating activity section differs from that of using the indirect method. All right, be sure to distinguish between the two whenever you're working with a problem. All right, go back to the templates that or the exhibits in the textbook that have the quote-unquote template, and mimic that when you're creating your statement of cash flows using either of the methods. Right? So again, I'm going, because this is a working paper, I'm going to abbreviate and be sloppy. All right, I'm not going to worry about capital letters, spelling, indentations, and things like this, dollar signs, whatever have you. And I will pay attention to underlines and double underlines, but as long as I understand what I'm creating, then if I have to create it formally, I'll convert it into the proper format and what it should look like. But for now, I'm just doing a homework problem. Right, so I have my cash flows from the operating activities, and when I look at the format of the direct method for that, I have my receipts. Spell it right. R-E-C-E-I. I have my receipts, and then I also have my payments. Now for my receipts, what do I have here? I have a collection from customers of $90,000, and I have, let's see here, net income, payment of income tax, a collection of dividend revenue, of $8,000. So that's a payment, depreciation, payment. So that's all I have as far as receipts is concerned. So my total cash receipts are $98,000. Now for payments, let's see here. Okay, I have payment to suppliers of $41,000. So this is money going out. I have payment to employees of $46,000. $46,000. I have payment of income tax of $9,000. Payment, depreciation. Okay, payment of interest of 15,000, and that's my total payments, which are 111,000. And so my net cash used for operating activities is a total of a negative $13,000. Okay, before I answer, so that's the bottom line. That's the computing the cash flows for the operating activities, number one. But before I address number two, notice up here when you're looking at this data, okay, notice that I didn't use the net income, right? Because we use the net income when we're using the indirect method. And we also use the depreciation expense when we're using the indirect method, because we're pulling that depreciation expense out of the net income in order to get just the cash portion of the net income. And we also have this here payment of dividends, right? So remember, the dividends, the payment of dividends will end up on the financing activity section of the a statement of cash flows. So that's why we didn't use those particular numbers. Right now, in previous videos, I had said, when it comes to statement of cash flows, the authors of textbooks like to always have a net increase in cash, just like I had said that for income statements, they always like to have a net income or a profit. They really don't show or don't mix it up to have, a loss or a decrease in cash. For this exercise, they actually have, a decrease in cash for the operating activity section. All right. What does that mean? Well, it means that the company is struggling because they're not getting enough cash. They're paying out too much money versus what they're taking in. Okay. They owe too many bills. They're not making enough sales. And so therefore they're beginning to struggle in their cash position. If you're struggling in your cash position, obviously you're not paying your bills, you're going to get cut off, from your suppliers, which means now you're being forced into dealing strictly with cash. And if you don't have the cash, you end up going out of business, and that's why cash is king. So this negative 13,000 means this company is beginning to get into trouble. Sure, they might go out and borrow money. I mean, there's ways to work around it. It's not the end-all be-all of the world, but this is part of the reason why you create these financial statements, so that you can do this analysis. If you're not creating them in the workplace, you're going by the seat of the pants, and as time moves on, you're not really, you just know that there's sort of something wrong, but you don't know what. All right. Like, for example, when the accounts payable bookkeeper comes over and says, well, we need to pay this bill, and you're like, okay, I don't have enough money in my checking account. That could have been circumvented, all right, by having created statements of cash flows and seeing that your cash position and understanding, what's going on, and being proactive towards your business, right? So that's that. Now, yeah, I'm going to go in and try to squeeze in. No, I'm going to stop here and have 28B done in the next video, because we're creating a statement of cash flows, the complete thing. So if this should be understandable. Go back and watch the theory videos for this chapter on, reporting for the direct method. And then if you didn't understand, where we're pulling the numbers from and, the math of it, feel free to contact an instructor.